Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Welcome back to Combat Sports UK. I'm Billy. I'm here with Denis the Menace Frimpong, the OKTAGON MMA Challenge finalist in a couple of weeks. Denis, how you getting on?
Not too bad, lad. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm sure I'm not quite as good as you know, knowing full well you've got a final fight in a couple of weeks. How's the preparation coming along? You feeling all set?
I'm sure you feel a lot better than me right now, man. I'm full of water and lacking carbs. But yeah, look, I'm feeling ready, mate. You know, this is the only real part of fighting I don't like is cutting weight because I enjoy my food. But it's part of the game, isn't it?
Are you a big weight cutter, or do you tend to try and sort of stay the same sort of level throughout the whole year?
I'm not like a big lightweight, you know. Like I walk around 81 whenever I'm like eating what I want. So it's not a massive weight cut, but regardless, it always sucks. Like it's always gonna suck, you know.
Yeah, no matter what. Just quickly, sort of a bit of a different change in topic. Last night there was that big fight between Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. Did you manage to catch it?
I've just seen the highlights. I wasn't watching it live. I was actually watching Cage Warriors.
Oh, was you? Yeah, that was brilliant. That the one in Rome, that was fantastic as well. I had to weigh up my options, but I mean, that fight was fantastic. It's a shame you missed out on it because what I was going to ask you is in terms of sort of Ngannou's representation of MMA. How do you think? You know, do you think he won? Do you think that he represented the MMA community?
Yeah, from what I've seen, I thought he won, but it is what it is. I spoke to a few people, and obviously all the MMA heads are saying he won because we score damage, right? But the boxers, they don't score damage; they score points. So even if I land a jab on your glove, or like a jab that like didn't look like it hurt you, it scores. Where like in MMA, it's the big shots that score, you know, significant strikes. So it's just one of them. I don't know enough about the boxing scoring system to really have an opinion. I think he won. If it was a fight, he won. You know, like if it was like, oh, who won that fight? But I don't think boxing is a fight. I think boxing's like a match, isn't it? It's like certain rules and like certain scoring criteria and stuff like that. But I think that Francis Ngannou did very well to represent MMA. Not only that, I think he represented himself and his continent very well. Obviously, like he's only been training combat sports a few years. He only started combat sports when he was like 27. Before that, he was a refugee in prison, homeless, all that. So, as a Cinderella story, that is unbelievable. Like for him to go toe to toe with arguably the best best heavyweight of all time in boxing in his sport is an achievement in itself.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, isn't it? Cinderella story. That sort of, you know, the rags to riches thing that every fighter dreams of. You know, you could be having your riches coming up potentially. With you got your fight in the final. Let's just take it back to your semi-final fight, which was fantastic, by the way. Congratulations on the win. That fight, how did you feel after obviously getting dropped to the first round and then recovering and then going on to win the fight? How was that, you know, the process mentally to go, okay, I'm down, let's get up and go?
There was to be honest, watching the fight back, I only watched the fight back when everyone else saw the fight, which was like a couple weeks ago or whatever, when I got dropped, that moment I got dropped, I don't remember like a good 30 or 40 seconds of that. Like I don't remember, I didn't think I got straight back. Like I got dropped and then I up kicked him and I got right back up. And I was kind of on wobbly legs or whatever. And he was like trying to stalk me down. I was still throwing elbows and stuff like that and knees and all, but I do not remember that. Honestly, I didn't think that's how that sequence went. I thought I got dropped. And when I really came to was like when he was putting the head and arm on, which was like I stood back up. We were going at it for a bit on the feet, and then he took me down. I don't remember that at all. I just thought he dropped me and then went for a head and arm triangle. So it was weird. There was like an internal monologue. I'll never forget. That internal monologue that came on. That was like, I can't have chatted all this shit to these guys and then get knocked out in the first round. So Yeah, obviously, like it was a big thing to prove to myself that I can fight through that sort of adversity. Um, a lot of people just curl up into a ball when they get dropped. And I obviously, it's a fight or flight thing, and I obviously have that fight. I've got that dog in me. So I appreciate Bo for bringing that out in me. And yeah, I think after that, I just found my flow. I found my rhythm, and the rest is history. Everyone who saw the fight, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. But I pretty much took over from there.
Yeah, I mean, you two have been very cordial to each other on social media after the fight, and it's been quite nice to see because I feel like, particularly just as someone who's been watching the show, but I remember hearing the guys in the island team say it. It's quite hard to poke the bear with Bo. Do you know what I mean? It kind of just sort of goes, yeah, whatever, and carries on.
Yeah, yeah. And even before the fight, to be honest with Bo, I was quite cordial. Obviously at the weigh-ins, there was a little bit of like back and forth. I was making fun of his height and stuff like that. But like as you see with the other two guys that I fought, or obviously with Hassan, with George, like I went a bit deeper, and I was a bit more, I was a bit less respectful of them because they didn't earn my respect. Obviously after the fight, Hassan earned my respect, but with Bo, he'd kind of been through enough, and he was sound. He was actually a nice bloke. Um, like yeah, I couldn't. It was hard to kind of poke at him because he was actually sound, and he could actually have the banter. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, so you said you took over the rest of the fight after the first round. So you were pretty confident you won. I remember I mean I definitely thought that you won, but it was kind of they did the fight and it didn't obviously announce the winner till the next episode. But just by the way that you two were acting on social media, it was clear to me that you'd probably won the fight anyway. Were you confident that you won, or was it still a little bit of doubt because you just never know?
No, I knew I won the fight. Obviously, they didn't show it in the show, but as soon as the fight ended, obviously I embraced Bo. I
Mhm.
thanked him for a good war. Um, I jumped up on the cage and stuff like that. Like I knew I'd won the fight. Um, like my corner knew I won. The only way I could have lost that was if I was robbed. But I mean, all you have to do is look at him after the fight and look at me. I was fresh, had a little cut on my nose there. That was about it. And he looked like he'd been through a war. Only one of us looked like we'd actually been in a fight.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I was very confident in the fact that I won, especially when they read 30-27s. I said, nah, like there's no way they've given him 3 rounds. So yeah, I was very confident that I won that fight. And yeah, I think anyone that watched it, even though they didn't announce it straight after, it was the next week, built some suspense or whatever. I don't know why, but I thought it was pretty obvious who won that fight.
Yeah, I mean the fight was fantastic, and then obviously a week afterwards you had George's semi-final fight where he got that submission. From witnessing that fight, particularly up close as well, what takeaways, obviously without revealing game plan things and things that you're not allowed to, but what did you take from
Mm.
that fight that you think that you're going to be able to bring into the final fight in a couple of weeks?
Um, I think George can't take a punch. Armand is realistically Armand's the featherweight, right? And he hit him a jab and sent him on wobbly legs. Um, so he doesn't like getting punched. He um he shoots after he's been hit hard. And I think no offense to Armand, yeah, but like my guard, I believe, is a lot more advanced than Armand's is. I think I have a better guard. I think I have a better bottom game. Um, And yeah, people say he made quick work of Armin and stuff, but he didn't just run through his guard. It wasn't like a an easy task to get past it. So I don't think he'll be able to pass my guard. That's even if he takes me down. I just think Armin made a few little small detail errors with his game plan when George shot a takedown, and it cost him the fight. But I don't believe I will make those errors. I think I'm much bigger, much stronger than Ireland. Um, and I think I'm longer as well. I'm rangier. Like yeah, it's a very different puzzle for George to have to try and solve. And I think the puzzle's going to end up bamboozling him a little bit, and he's going to get lost in there.
Yeah, I mean, you just spoke about the physical advantages that you think as well, that you think you have as well. But throughout the show, you've been quite clear in your method to you know, sort of hurt them mentally before you can hurt them physically, and they'll come in and they'll be, you know, not prepared properly. The other day, George put up a post, something along the lines of, you know, you can chat all you want to me, but you can't talk about my family. That's when I get angry. So it's quite obvious that he is seeing all the things you're saying, or hearing all the things you're saying. Excuse me. So do you feel like you have the mental edge over George? And if that's the case, how much do you think it's going to affect himself in the fight?
I think I definitely have the mental edge over George. I have no ill feelings towards George. George wants to smash my face in because of what I said about him and his family and whatnot. Um, yeah, I think he's a weak-minded individual. He's a good MMA technician. I won't take away from that. He's good at what he does. He's a good grappler. You know, he has a good system and whatnot. But I just believe that I'm much more fierce, much more vicious, much more violent. Um, I think I can dig deeper, and I have way more to fight for than him. Um, and yeah, as I said, I'm in his head already, rent free. You know, I know his family's going to be putting pressure on him to win that fight, because if he doesn't, you know, he's going to look like a bit of a bitch, for lack of a better word. Um, Obviously, he already cried on the show. You know, he cried in front of a camera over something that someone said. So I don't even think he's in the right sport, to be quite honest with you. I think he's a mentally weak individual. I'm going to show those mental cracks again, and then I'm going to open up the physical cracks as well.
Yeah, I mean, George's, you know, do you ever look at George's amateur record and think, okay, you know, maybe, you know, it's more than meets the eye here, or are you sort of fully aware of what George brings to the table, and you're happy to deal with it?
What do you mean in terms of like his amateur record? Like
Yeah, and
it's a good
so like,
record. Like yeah, 16-1 is a good record, yeah. But I look at some of the names on there, and they're shit.
mm,
A lot of his fights were on the IMAFs, 3 3-minute rounds with shin pads on. Um, and 3 3-minute rounds suits a guy who shoots and takes people down and sniffs their legs for 3 rounds, you know, because you don't
mm,
have much time to get back up. 5 minute rounds, and we've got 5 of them. So we've got 5 5-minute rounds. He's got to be in there with me for 25 minutes. That's like nearly 3 times as long as what he's used to fighting, you know. Um, and as I say, like I'm going to be kicking him with my bare shin. I'm going to be elbowing him. I'm going to be kneeing him in the face. I'm going to be kneeing him in the body. You know, and I've got a diverse array of weapons there that I can use on him. Um, yeah, as I say, some of those fights, he didn't look great in. You know, yeah, he managed to find a way to win the decision, but he's not a finisher. And if he's going to be in there with me for 25 minutes, that's 25 whole minutes where I can land on him and I can finish him. I'm a proven finisher.
mm.
People have seen what I can do. Obviously, I couldn't finish Bo. I couldn't put him away, but he was tough. And I don't believe that George is as tough as Bo.
Yeah, I mean, I was just about to ask you, but you kind of half answered my question already. Is that sort of wrestling physicality that George tends to bring to the table? How do you plan on dealing with that? Do you have that all sorted and ready? You know, do you plan on maybe
Mm.
getting there first before he can do that?
Yeah, I might even take him down. You know, I might even
Mm,
take him down. See what he's like off his back. Because I mean, Matthew took him down a couple times. Um, and as I say, Matthew as well is a featherweight, so he's dealing with a different animal now. He's dealing with a real lightweight. Um, he spent a lot of his amateur career fighting featherweights as well. He was a lot of the time the bigger man, the taller man, the longer man. This time he's going to be facing someone who's taller, longer, stronger, faster than him, a better striker, better jiu-jitsu. Yeah, he might be a slightly better offensive wrestler because I don't work on that stuff. I don't work on sniffing people's legs. It's not my style. Um, but I don't believe he'll be able to take me down. And if he does, he's going to go through hell to do it. He's going to tire himself out, and then every round starts back on the feet. So he's going to start dropping those hands when he gets tired, and then something's going to catch him in the jaw.
yeah, I mean, the fight with George is almost, you couldn't write a better script really, straight from the get-go, in terms of the people that reacted probably the most to the mental warfare, George is definitely up there. How do you feel about fighting George in such a big you know, such a big event and you're excited about, you know, going to an arena, and a lot of people there will be there to see you fight specifically. They won't be there for the main event. They'll be there to watch the Octagon Challenge final. How does it feel?
Yeah, I
So, you
mean,
know, that's quite
I
a
mean
big.
that fight between me and George is the people's main event, really. You know, the main event. Obviously, they had to put like more experienced pros up there and a title and stuff like that. But I believe that me and George is the people's main event. We are two of the biggest up and coming stars out of this region, out of the UK and Ireland. Um, and I've got the weight of a country on my back. You know, I've got a nation behind me, the whole of Ireland. Does George have that? I don't believe so. I think a lot of people in the UK and Ireland are actually looking to see me win, even his own countrymen. Um, you know, I think he ducked a lot of people. A lot of people find him to be overrated for what he is, and I think I'm going to expose that come next Saturday. You know, we've only got a few days left now, and who knows? You know, maybe I'll even get that octagon knockout record. I think it's 7 seconds now, so I've got to beat 7 seconds.
Yeah, well, I wish you all the best of luck. I've taken up a lot of your time, so I will let you go. But thank you very much, Dennis. It does mean a lot that we can talk to you and ask you questions about that.
No
I wish you the
stress, mate. No stress. Thank you for having me on as usual. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I wish you the best of luck, mate.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate it. See you
Right.
soon.